My stepbrother tried to steal my college fund behind my back. What I did next made him regret ever messing with me. My mom married Charles after dating him for only 8 months. Charles seemed nice enough, but his 19-year-old son, Ricky, moved in with us and immediately started acting like he owned our house. He took over the living room, ate food I bought with my part-time job money, and constantly made comments about how his dad was supporting us now. Dad had died in a car accident when I was 11. The only good thing he left behind was a $34,000 college fund that my grandparents had helped build. The account was in my name but required mom's signature for withdrawals until I turned 18, which was still 5 months away. 3 months after the wedding, I came home early from my friend Maisie's house and heard Ricky on the phone in his bedroom. The door was cracked open, and I heard him say, "Getting access to that cash is easier than we thought. Just need one signature." I froze outside his door as he continued, "Her mom is so trusting, it's almost too easy. Once we get that college money, we can finally start the business." I stayed hidden behind the door and kept listening as Ricky laid out his entire plan to his friend Aiden. They were going to forge mom's signature on the withdrawal forms while she was away on her trip with Charles. Ricky laughed about how I'd never even noticed until it was too late, since I never checked that stuff. The next morning, I checked mom's desk and found my college fund paperwork missing. Mom had left for a 2-week trip with Charles, so I couldn't ask her. I searched Ricky's room when he went out but found nothing. That night, I saw him typing mom's email password. I memorized it and waited until he left the next day. Logging into mom's email, I found messages between Ricky and someone pretending to be from the bank discussing forging mom's signature. There was also an email from the real bank about someone trying to change my account contact information to Ricky's phone. In the drafts folder were emails where he practiced writing as mom, authorizing transfers. He'd even attached a scan of her driver's license. I took screenshots and called my Aunt Georgina, who never liked Charles or Ricky. We went to the bank together and learned Ricky had already submitted forms to withdraw $15,000 for a supposed emergency tuition payment. The bank had flagged it as suspicious since the signature didn't match. They were waiting for verification from my unreachable mom. "We need to freeze this account immediately," Aunt Georgina told the manager. We froze the account and filed a fraud report. At home, I checked our shared computer. Ricky wasn't tech-savvy enough to clear his history, which showed searches for how to forge signatures and bank withdrawal without ID. The downloads folder contained scanned copies of mom's signature. I found his social media still logged in, with messages to Aiden discussing using my money to buy inventory for counterfeit sneakers. I printed everything and showed Georgina. She suggested we confront him at our regular Sunday dinner at her house. She simply called Ricky and told him everyone was expected to come since it was tradition while mom was away. When Ricky arrived at the dinner, Aunt Georgina, Uncle Dave, my 3 cousins, and my mom's best friend Yolanda were all there. I had told them everything and shown them the evidence. We acted normal through the first half of dinner, making Ricky feel comfortable. As dessert was served, I placed the thick folder of evidence on the table. "Ricky, we know about the college fund," I said, pushing the folder toward him. He went pale, then red, then tried to laugh it off before making a dash for the door. Uncle Dave blocked his way. Ricky started making wild excuses about just borrowing the money temporarily. Then he switched to blaming me for always getting everything, while he got nothing in life. He claimed Charles had promised him money for his business idea, but then backed out. "You were going to steal $15,000 from a dead man's daughter," Yolanda said. That shut him up completely. I explained that I'd given copies of everything to the bank and had already spoken to the police about identity theft and fraud. I told him he had 2 options: confess everything to mom and Charles when they returned and pay back the $800 he'd already taken, or I'd press formal charges and he'd likely end up with a criminal record. Ricky chose option 1, though he spent the next 5 days begging me to reconsider and even offered to split my college fund if I stayed quiet. I recorded these conversations too. When mom and Charles returned, we gathered again. Ricky tried to downplay everything, but I had the evidence. Charles was furious. "I raised a thief," Charles whispered. That night, Charles packed Ricky's things and drove him to his mother's house in the next state. Mom transferred my college fund to a new account only I could access after turning 18 and changed all her passwords. Charles moved out 4 months later due to other issues with mom, but before leaving, he wrote me a check for $2,000 as a partial repayment for what his son tried to do. Last weekend, I ran into Aiden, who told me Ricky works at a warehouse now and still complains that I ruined his life and turned his dad against him. Charles barely speaks to him anymore and refused to help him financially last year.